This is the Average to Savage podcast with Paul Guarino. Everyone and anyone, athletes, celebs, and much more.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Average Savage podcast. Our special guest today is pro basketball player Brandon Sherrod. Brandon, how's it going?
Going well, man. Thanks for having me. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you coming on. So let's go back in time, and how'd you get involved, first started playing basketball?
Well, it's funny because when I was about 14, I started playing. It was my freshman year of high school, and I didn't play any organized basketball before. I hadn't played. And I was a really big kid. I was like 315 pounds, like 6'2". And my teammates at the time, they were like, yo, you should try out because you're tall. And, you know, in Connecticut, there weren't a lot of tall dudes. So I ended up going to practice, going to the tryouts, and I sucked. I was like shooting layups off the backboard. I was dribbling off my foot. You know, I was really a scrub. Like, if anyone was a bona fide scrub, it was me at that time. And so, you know, just day by day, luckily my coaches didn't cut me, and I was able to work on my game. And I ended up losing like 100 pounds between my freshman and sophomore year. And I went from playing just freshman and JV to actually starting varsity my sophomore year. So my start just came from, you know, general interest and my friends kind of pushing me to try out for the team and having some love of the game of basketball for watching it and, you know, seeing other NBA players on TV and stuff like that.
Gotcha. You guys send me some pics because I still don't believe that you were 325 pounds.
No, facts. I know. People talk about it all the time, and like the weight just fell off too. So I remember my grandma. She was like, you know, boy, you been smoking something? I was like, no, Grandma, I'm working out. So it's a real blessing. I think basketball, you know, in my opinion, saved my life because, you know, if I hadn't have started playing, I probably would have still been the same size and I wouldn't have been as healthy as I am now.
Yeah, definitely. Did you play any other sports growing up?
Yes, when I was a kid, I mean, my parents had me play soccer, which is, you know, one of the big sports where, you know, it's not too hard to play. You just got to try to kick a ball. And then I also played baseball from age 9 to 12. I played third base, outfield, and I pitched every now and then. So it was really cool. Played Little League, and that was fun. I probably could have been a pretty good baseball player if I had stuck with it, but it was just too boring of a sport for me. Just a lot of standing around, and, you know, I needed to have some action.
So your first organized basketball was in high school?
Yeah, like I played maybe, there was like Sterling House Basketball League. It was like a community center league in Stratford. And I played there maybe for like, I think our league lasted like 2 months or something like that. But aside from that, no organized ball. None whatsoever.
That's crazy. And then how did you end up going to Choate private school?
Yeah, so I had a really good run at Stratford High. My sophomore year, we won our first state championship of school history. And then my senior year, we went 27-0. And we won the state championship. But I didn't know where I wanted to go to school. Like, I had a few offers that offered from Davidson. I had some interest from schools like UMass. I had an offer from Fordham and Sacred Heart University, which, you know, is your alma mater. So my coach at the time, Adam Finkelstein, the coach at Choate, he reached out to me after I played the AAU tournament. And he was like, you know, we'd love to have you. And I had the grades because it was a really, really prestigious institution. And the Yale coaches that came to visit me at Stratford High. And they were like, you know, if you go to Choate for a year, you probably have a better chance of getting into Yale because of the academic pedigree, the reputation, and even the culture. I think that was probably the biggest thing, just the culture shock of going from public school to private school. So I ended up at Choate for 2010 to 2011. And it was a really, really cool experience. We actually won school's first New England championship, too, for basketball, which was super dope. So just kind of kept the winning culture going. And I had a good time.
Yeah, going back, you won in 2010, you won the Gatorade Player of the Year in Connecticut. So what was that like?
It was crazy, man. You know, the wild thing is, when I came in as a freshman, there were so many guys around Connecticut that I looked up to. You know, other guys who were, you know, freshmen. There's some really good players that I really admired, like Greg Langston, who went to St. Joe's and ended up playing at Southern Connecticut State University. One of my teammates, Russell Payton, at Stratford High, he was a really, really talented player as a freshman. And I really looked up to those guys, and I wanted to be like them because I was nowhere close to where they were at skill level-wise. And I guess it's just a testament of a lot of hard work, man, and a lot of perseverance. And, you know, I don't think anybody could have told me that I would be the Gatorade State Player of the Year coming into our freshman tryouts. But I think it's just a testament to the hard work, dedication, and staying the course, and honestly just playing hard. I had a really good motor when I was playing in high school, and also off the court, being academically involved, being involved in my church and my ministry with my parents, and then also doing other things like acting and singing and being involved with the music. So I think all those things kind of culminated into me being the Gatorade Player of the Year, and for us to win the state championship too was a big time cherry on top. So it was a really, really, really cool experience.
Yeah, jack of all trades over here.
Trying.
And then, and what overall, I know you kind of just touched on the recruiting process, but what was it like after you went to prep school?
Yeah, so I mean, after I finished up Stratford High, I had a summer with CBC, which was one of the premier AAU programs in Connecticut. So I played with guys like NBA star Andre Drummond, who plays for the Pistons now, and Chris Dunn, who's from New London, Connecticut. Actually, I played against Chris when he was a sophomore, and I was a senior. We played against each other in the state championship in League and Sun, and we ended up winning that one. But I played with Chris and Andre on that same team and a bunch of other top guys, Phil Gaetano, Dennis Levine, Deshaun Murphy, Tavon Allen, like a lot of really, really talented guys. And I had a lot of recruitment, a lot of offers from being on the AAU circuit. And then when I went to prep school, my coach was very well connected with Division I coaches. And I remember we had a couple of workouts where we would just have our 5 guys, be 6 people, and coach would put us through a workout. And then after the workout, the coaches would offer guys on the spot. Like I got a couple offers, like literally because I just played well in a 3-on-3 setting from coaches that would have probably never come and seen me play when I was in public school. So it was a really, really cool situation. Got me really prepared for college too. I started a lifting program, which I had never done. I was always a pretty big kid, but I never lifted weights before. So that was something that also helped me prep for college as well. So it was a really, really dope situation.
So how did you narrow down your decision and then ended up picking Yale?
So it's funny because I didn't want to go to Yale. My coaches came in and they were like, we want you to, we would love for you to come to the university, but we think you going to Choate would be a good idea. And I was like, do I have to commit to you guys? And they said no. So it was a win-win situation for me. My dream school was Georgetown. I'd always wanted to go there. And I had other offers, from schools that were mid-majors, but I also had a couple other Ivy League offers, one from Brown, one from Penn, and one from Yale. And I remember my coach sat me down from Choate, and we were in Choate's dining hall, and I'll never forget it. He was like, you'd be stupid if you passed up an opportunity to go to a place like Yale. And he was like, there are just some opportunities that you're afforded at that university that you won't be able to find anywhere else. And after we had that conversation, I committed to, I think it was my birthday of that year. I called Coach, and I was Coach James Jones at Yale, and I said, hey, Coach, I'm committing to Yale. And, the rest is history.
Yeah, definitely. And then your first season, you were named Rookie of the Year at Yale, and then what would just take me through some of those first couple of years and then into the Woof and Poofs?
Yeah, man. I think coming to Yale at first was a huge culture shock for me on so many levels. Obviously, from an academic standpoint, it's one of the most prestigious universities in the world, and the caliber of person that you meet at Yale is just incredible. There are so many people who are super intelligent, just like uber smart, very ambitious. There are kids who came in with an idea of what they want to do. Like as soon as they got to Yale, there are kids who wanted to be pre-med, and they knew that their trajectory was 4 years of pre-med at Yale, then go into med school and going through that whole process. You had people who wanted to go into finance and law, and I was just a kid who came in, and I honestly at first I was just like, I want to just play basketball. Like that was my main thing. Like obviously get good grades, and I wanted to major in political science, but I had no concrete idea of what I really, really wanted to do. So for my first couple of years, I kind of just waltzed through Yale, doing pretty well in the classroom, but not necessarily understanding the opportunities that were laid out before me off the court. So I think I didn't really come to the realization of that until probably the end of my junior year, early senior year. On the court, we were okay. We were in the top half of the league, but we didn't get to win the league my first 3 years when I was there. And that was pretty frustrating too, because I thought I could have played more, and coming in as a freshman, it's a big adjustment period too, like trying to adjust to the speed and the athleticism and the strength of college athletes. It's not the same. And the Ivy League, playing against some of those teams, like Princeton was really good when I was there. Penn had a really solid team. The whole league was pretty competitive, but it's just, you play back-to-backs. It's not like other leagues where you have a league tournament and a regular season, tournament. So we didn't have that when I was there at all. So it was really, really difficult to win games and to be super competitive. So, that was all really difficult for me, and trying to wrap my head around all of it. But obviously, the amenities, like how beautiful the campus is, the teachers, the fact that it was in New Haven, and I was so close to home, my hometown of Bridgeport, Connecticut. So that was really dope. But after my first 3 years, I ended up auditioning for this a cappella group, and that kind of changed everything for me as far as my outlook on life, the university, and the world.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about that year. Like, did that change your, I guess, mindset on basketball too, as well? Like, just thinking about like professionally playing basketball and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, so I joined this group, the Whiff and Poops, which is it's like, I'll save you the pleasure of trying to pronounce that, but it's like the oldest all-male a cappella group in the United States, and it's been around since 1909, and every year 14 rising seniors get chosen, and for a long time it was all men. I think last year was the first time that they admitted a woman into the Whiff and Poofs, but 14 rising seniors, and they auditioned. So I think there were probably 30 to 40 people who auditioned, and they chose 14, and I happened to be one of the 14. And because the group usually travels all the time, like we were getting all over the United States, we made trips to South America, we were in Ecuador and Peru, we went to every continent other than Antarctica after the year was over, 26 countries in literally a year. So I had to take the year off school and off of basketball, which was a really tough decision, because obviously, as a player, you want to keep your rhythm, but also as a student, you want to keep your rhythm too. So it was really, really abrupt, but after traveling and meeting so many people from around the world, it just really opened my eyes to just how insignificant we really are. Like, for me, being a person, I thought of myself as being super important and always wanting to be the center of attention and all that stuff. But traveling just introduces you to so many different cultures, unlike your own. It teaches you that you are just like one small piece of this this big sea of folks. It's just crazy. Like, everyone's doing life in different parts of the world, more or less the same way you are, just maybe in a different language or with different amenities and different situations and different things to worry about. So I really, really enjoyed that trip. I met a ton of great people. I was really open to the new experiences, and I thought about a future abroad, which I never thought about before joining the group. So that was really big for me.
Yeah, actually, that's crazy. I didn't know you had to take the year off from school too. I thought you guys were doing online classes or something. No, we were really, literally, it was just it was kind of like going on tour. We literally went on tour, like professional musicians, professional singers, just traveling all over the place. And the guys had gigs so that they could support themselves. But for the most part, we were always, out and about. Yeah, it's crazy. So now going into your senior year, I guess you'd say, how did you transition from not basically how long? I mean, I don't even know how long did you not play basketball for, and then you got back into it.
Yeah, so I took the whole year off. So that was 2014 and 2015. Yeah. So I mean, during the time that I was gone, I was always working out. Like, there was, I tried to get into the gym as much as possible because I knew I wanted to be ready when I came back to play. And my coach was, really cool about, having me back and invited me with open arms. So I took a leave of absence from the university, but I was able to, come right back without any problems. So, I mean, for my body, it was really good having that time off because it allowed me to really rest. And also, I think mentally too, it allowed me to just relax and not have to worry about, basketball. Basketball is one of those seasons where it's like you're literally practicing all year long. Yeah. There's really no rest. It's like you start and you're working out through the summer. You get into school. You start, training in late September. October, and then you're training until the season starts in like November, and then you're not ending until March if you're if you make it to March Madness, and then you're back to preseason training again to prepare for the next season. So for me, like having that time off was huge because it just allowed me to rest, recuperate, and also just allowed me to kind of enjoy myself a little bit more, as opposed to being super locked in on just basketball like it usually was.
Now, say like going into that first practice, was it weird? Like, were you like, I don't remember how to play basketball?
Nah, I mean, yeah, like it definitely was. I think there was an adjustment period. Basketball's like it's like riding a bike, man. So I mean, my first couple of practices, even though I thought I was still in shape, there was definitely some rude awakenings there too. Just like trying to get my wind back and trying to get my rhythm back and adjusting to the speed and the athleticism and all that goes into being a D1 college athlete. But my coaches were really good about reintegrating me and making sure that I got my rhythm. They honestly told me, they were like, we just want you to be ready for like the Ivy League season. So I ended up having an okay first half of the season before we got into the league play. And then once we got into the league, I got into a really, really good rhythm and did my thing.
Yeah, you were named first team All Ivy League, and then you guys made the tournament run. You upset Baylor. So what was upsetting Baylor like?
Man, that was crazy. It's one, going to the NCAA tournament, March Madness. It's like you get there, and if you haven't been there, it's like, why don't we go every single year? Like, we have to get back. So for the freshmen, I was super jealous because they got to see it in their first year, and those guys ended up going back to the tournament for their last year. But for me, it was just incredible, man. We were in Providence too, so it was essentially like a home game. So we had a ton of support from the fans, super loud arena, and I think it was a Dunkin' Donuts Center, and upsetting a team like Baylor with like really, really talented cats. They had Torian Prince, who is in the league now. They had Rico Gathers, who is literally the biggest human I've ever seen in my life. He was like just an ox. He actually, I think after he graduated, he got picked up by the Dallas Cowboys. He didn't even play football, but just because of how big and athletic he was, he got signed. But and then also too, like we win, and then Torian Prince has that infamous NCAA March Madness video where he's talking about rebounding. And that gets played every single year. And like I can always say, like that was us. So, and it was the first time the school had gotten a win ever. It was the first time we went to the tournament since like '64. And then the first time we won was against Baylor. So that was huge to be a part of history like that as well. So yeah, just a blessing, man. Just really, really dope. And for every basketball player, that's like the pinnacle, trying to get there. So I can't even imagine for teams who get there every year how spoiled they must feel.
For sure. Yeah, and actually I forgot, going back, you set the record, what was it, 30 consecutive shots in a row?
Yeah, that was insane too. That was an insane run.
It was 30,
It's
right?
funny because 30 in a row over like, I think it was like 4 games, something like that.
Yeah.
And what's funny is before we got to Ivy League play, I had like a game. We played like a D3 team, and those games are always just like tune-ups to gives guys some confidence that everyone's going to play. We're going to blow the team out by like 60. And we were playing the game, and I remember I probably shot like 6 for 13 or something like that, and all the shots that I missed were like layups, just like point blank shots that I just like blew. And I remember like dudes on my team and my coaches were like, "Come on, man, you got to like lock in and focus." And so I was like, "All right, bet." And then next thing I know, I just kind of had this crazy run that I didn't even notice in game. It's not something that you're thinking about until I got to that. Those last 4 or 5 shots to get the record. Like that's probably the most nervous I've been on the court, just trying not to miss anything. But it was a really, really, really good run. My record is still the record for the men's. But I think it's Ruthie Hebert. She was a player at Oregon. She broke it, and she made, I think it was like 33 in a row. She has the all-time for both sides, but I have the men's record still. So I'll hold on to that.
Yeah, that was crazy. You had a little media run right there with the tournament and the 30 buckets in a row. It's crazy.
That time in college was love for sure.
Yeah.
The last senior year moment. So I had a good time, man.
Yeah, for sure. And I know in the second, I guess the second round you guys played Duke, but I mean, obviously, you guys didn't advance, but you dropped 20. So what was that like?
Yeah, that was cool, man. Because you
were on
I
fire.
think we had played them earlier in the year, and I actually fouled out at Cameron Indoor. And I thought if I had played, and I played really well against them, and I was like, I thought if I had played, we would have had, a chance to do our thing. We could have had a chance to really keep it close with them.
Yeah.
So coming into the game, I was really hyped up, and also, but after the first half, we were down by like 20 something. So we ended up making like a crazy run, and it was just it was a nice way to end my career, even though we didn't win as a team. It was a nice way to kind of end. And funny enough, that film from that game was like really crucial in me playing professionally as well. It was like, my agent can use that and say like, hey, like this guy played against Duke, one of the top teams that had, we had Brandon Ingram, Grayson Allen, Luke Kennard, all NBA guys who were on that team. And so for my agent to use that film and pitch it to other teams and be like, hey, like this guy can actually hoop. He played really well against this competition. Was really important for me as well. So that was really big.
Yeah, definitely. That goes into my next question of you coming out of Yale. Did you expect to go pro? And like, was that when you played Duke, like yourself personally, did you think you were like, all right, like I could be a professional basketball player?
Yeah, I think like I didn't know for sure if I was going to play professionally. And I think some of that was the fact I think every athlete wants to play in the NBA. Every college basketball player, I think, wants to play in the NBA. They want to get there.
Yeah, for sure.
That had always been something that I had dreamed about. But I also knew like that based on how I had performed in college up until that point, the chances of me were slim. But after traveling, I had felt really comfortable with the idea of possibly living abroad. And I thought, playing professional basketball would have been a great choice. But I think I wouldn't have come to that decision had I not traveled before and had I not been a part of the With Poofs. So that was really big for me. So, yeah, I mean, coming out of Yale, too, I had an option to run for state senate. Mm-hmm. And I got reached out to by the Republican Party in Connecticut, and they wanted me to run for a seat that was going to be basically empty. And so I ended up turning down that opportunity because I wanted to pursue basketball because it was a dream of mine. I thought, I'm young, I'm still able-bodied, and if I can play right now, I want to do that. And then, if I have a career in politics later on, then, I'll go for it when I have time and when I have enough money to support myself. Yeah,
definitely. And going on the business side, like, how did you decide to pick your agent?
So a few agents reached out to me during the year. And they reached out to my parents first because they couldn't really talk to me per NCAA rules at the time. Yeah. And I ended up picking like the guy who reached out to me first, funny enough. And because I just felt like some sort of loyalty to him and had like the fact that he had hit me up. But it actually turned out to be a bad situation. I think like choosing agents is one of the hardest things. Like choosing your representation is really important. And you've got to go with guys who have a proven track record. You got to go with guys who shoot it to you straight because those are the people who are probably going to look out for you and they have your best interests in mind. So I ended up signing with this one agency, and I dropped the guy in July after I went to like a showcase in Vegas. I was one of the top 5 players in that showcase. Working out, I had film, and he had really no offers to show for the work that I had put in over the summer. So I ended up dropping that guy and signing with my current agent, Matt Slan, based out of Canada. Mm-hmm. He's based out of Toronto, and we've been together since my first year.
Yeah, that's the stuff I think is important for other athletes to know, especially like during these podcasts, stuff like that.
No. Yeah, man, no doubt. I think, man, one of the things is like if that's not a good look, and you probably shouldn't be with that agent. I think there's like if people reach out to you, I mean, there are guys who prey on desperation. So there are dudes who are like, I'll be your representation, but you got to pay me like this much, and I'll find you something. And then sometimes guys pay agents and they don't find them anything, or there are agents who say like they're really connected, but like they might be starting out in a company that's like, or an agency that's like really big. Yeah. So you might, like in my case, I signed with a guy who was brand new to his agency. So he didn't really have any clientele, didn't really have a ton of connections, but he was signed to an agency that did. He was representing one. So, you got to be really vigilant with all of that. And at the same time, too, you got to be patient. Yeah. You got to be really patient. So my first gig, I didn't leave until October. But it was because I was, waiting. I just waited. I wasn't happy with the deals I had found. And my agent was like, we can chill, but you're going to have to wait and see if something changes. So I got really fortunate. But I think, for guys that coming out their first year or two, you gotta be willing maybe to take a pay cut and maybe go into a situation that allows you to play and get some exposure in a good league, and that might mean that you're not going to have the best amenities or the best salary, but it will give you the open door to maybe expand your career and extend your career beyond that 1 year, beyond that one country.
Yeah, I mean, you got to start somewhere, like you said, pretty much.
Facts.
And did you have any opportunity to try out for like any D League, G League teams?
No, I mean, me and my agent had talked about that being a possibility, but I think for me, I've really embraced being abroad. Like I've been in Italy for the last 3 years, played for the last 3 years. This is my 4th year playing out here, and I got really, really, really fortunate in my first year that ended up in a city that, one, really loved basketball. I made some great friends, had some great teammates, and I had an amazing experience in Italy. And from then on, I was able to, stay abroad. And also, right now, if you don't sign a 2-way contract in the G League, I don't think the money is as good as what you could, possibly get if you're abroad. But I mean, the fact of the matter is, like, if you're playing abroad, like you're in a foreign country, that if you're not like in London or Scandinavia or some of these other places, there aren't a lot of people who speak English, which is also very difficult. So that culture shock is something, and you're far away from your families. So, there's a lot of pros and cons. Like, you might have more money, but you're not going to be as comfortable. Whereas in the G League, you might not have as much money, but you're going to at least be in America. So it's based on, what you like, what you dig.
Yeah, definitely. So I know you kind of just touched on it, but what's your experience like been in Italy?
It's been great, man. I mean, there are so many things to love about the country. I mean, for one, the people here, they love soccer. I think that's definitely in the country's main sport.
Definitely.
But also, I think people are really passionate about basketball, and they come out and support. And I think everyone kind of takes pride in the fact that their town has a basketball team, and like the players that are there, like they get taken care of. There's been so many times I've gone to restaurants, and the owner of the restaurant will come out and say like, "Hey, it's such a pleasure to see you. Like, I've seen you play on the basketball court. You're a great player," and they just show love. So I really, really enjoy that. I think Italians they really care about family. I think they like to stick to their morals. So I think overall, as a people, they're really welcoming and friendly, and I love that. The Italian language is beautiful. I speak Italian now, which is dope. So that's allowed me to get around and get a real authentic experience, even more so than what I was like when I first got here. The food is incredible. I eat really well. The quality of the food is insane. The wine is really good. The women here are beautiful. So I can't really complain, because the off the court stuff too is really important. I think if you're able to have some sort of balance, and for me, I think that's a major key. Just having those all these beautiful things here has really helped me be the player that I am now.
Yeah, I've been on my wine game. You got to tell me about some wines.
No, facts. I mean, for one, I'll shout out a couple of simple wines. If you want to have a nice, dry red wine that's really tasty, Montepulciano d'Abruzzo. That's like Abruzzo is the region that the wine is, or where the grapes come from. Yeah. But it's a really, really simple wine, very tasty. If you want something that's a little bit more fuller bodied, I'd say Nero d'Avola, which is like, I don't know how to translate that right now off the top of my head, but it's a fuller bodied wine. And then for white wine, Pecorino is really good. Falanghina. I'll send you some bottles. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get a couple of bottles titles, and then when I come back to the States, we'll have a LeBron moment.
For sure.
We'll just have a little tasting.
For sure. And what's your goals for this year and beyond?
Yeah, this year, man, I'm trying to. I've been expanding my game every single year. So I play like the five, the center position, and power forward every now and then too. But every year I've added something to my game. So like my first year, I was literally just like a rebound and dump off guy. And then my second year, I added a little bit more ball handling and playmaking. And then this past year, it was a little bit more playmaking, a little bit more ball handling, and some mid-range shooting. So this year I'm trying to just, I'm shooting the three this year. So that's going to be big for me.
Okay.
And also too, I think if I shoot it consistently well, then that's going to also result in more money, and my life will be a lot easier because I don't have to bang in the post all the time. My goal this year is to expand my game, continue to expand my game to win our league. I think we have a really good team this year. If we get it together, we can really do some damage in the playoffs, and I think have a chance of winning the whole thing. And then, and honestly, just to be conscious with my my money. I'm working on a couple of investments right now. And also just, trying to raise awareness with other athletes. It's like, we make a lot of money, but, we have to save it, one. And then two, if we are saving it, it's not great to just let it sit. It's probably better if you, find some way to invest it and to make your money work for you.
Yeah.
So that in the future you can set yourself up.
Definitely. And then going into your music career, I know you were just on an album with other international basketball players. So tell me a little about that.
Yeah, my guy Adam Smith, shout out to Adam, who's actually playing in Greece right now, Thessaloniki, in Greece's top league. We were teammates my first year when I played in Roseto, and Adam's a rapper, and for those who don't know, I'm a singer. So we talked a lot last year. We ended up meeting in Bologna, one city in Italy, and we worked with this producer, Yuri, who didn't really speak any English, but we were able to create this super dope album that just came out called Across the Pond. It's the EP, and I'm featured on like 4 tracks with my man Adam, and it just talks about our experience of being abroad and what that's like, and how difficult it is, but also how much of a blessing it is, and how we're able to kind of set up ourselves financially and also set up our families financially. And we also get to experience all the culture, food, traveling, and things that we would never see in the States, and things that a lot of people in the States will never get to experience. So it's just a real blessing that I was able to be on that project, and it's doing really well. I got shouted out by Sportando. We have a lot of players that have been tweeting it and sharing it. It's on iTunes, Spotify, Tidal, every major platform, YouTube. So go download that. Across the Pond by Adam Smith. It's dope.
Gotcha. Yeah, definitely got to check that out. I've been using Spotify a lot, so probably on Spotify. So going into, like, what advice would you give a basketball player trying to get a D1 scholarship or trying to go pro?
Yeah, I think one thing my coach from Choate used to say all the time, Adam Finkelstein, was like, he would say, be great every day. He was like, there's a lot of things that are out of your control, but the one thing you control is, your effort, your attitude, and your focus, regardless of what's going on around you, you can make the choice of being great. So if that means, like, you have a practice and it's 3-on-3, like, people are watching, so be great. Or even if there's no one in the stands, just the fact that, you're being that guy who sticks out, amongst his peers, and you're like you're the leader, you're talkative, you're doing all the right things, like that definitely will get you to the next level. Because there are a lot of good players that are out here, and there are a lot of the guys who are talented who aren't playing professionally and aren't getting a Division I scholarship, and there are little differences. So just being great every day, like being a person of character, it's crazy how much that plays into the decision-making process of guys signing with teams, especially like out in Europe. Like, coaches will literally ask, like, is this guy a good locker room? Like, not even the basketball stuff. Like, yeah, we know he's a good basketball player, but is he a good locker room guy? Yeah. Like, does he party too much? Like, is he a dude who is he a dude, or is he a girl, or is she a girl who fights with their teammates, or or does things that would piss a coach off. So like those are really important things, and people look into that, especially with all like these college coaches as well. It's like they can find a lot of talented guys, but can they find talented guys and girls with character? So I think that's been the biggest thing that I've learned, and just being smart. You don't have to put everything on social media either. I think that's one of the bigger things nowadays. It just seems like everyone wants to post every single thing that they do. But you got to be really, really smart and vigilant about, who's seeing your content and what content that you're posting. Because all that, at the end of the day, will, either follow you, haunt you, or help you, depending on what you, on how you use it.
That's definitely true.
Facts. Like you're seeing that now, like with AB and not even just AB, like a ton of athletes, they just get into trouble because they're just doing stupid things. Yeah. On social media, and so it's like you can control that. That's not hard.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, going back to the locker room aspect and character. Actually, Josh Hart and I think he interviewed Chris Broussard, and they were talking about like that's like almost like half the battle now. Like you just got to be like a good guy, like to get on a team.
Facts.
Like
and also to like stay with teams. Like there are guys who, again, there are so many talented, like hoopers, players, just in every single field, that don't get picked up because they literally just can't coexist with other people. Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's a team sport, so you have to, you gotta provide something. You gotta provide some sort of atmosphere. You gotta add to the atmosphere. Yeah. If you're subtracting or if you're detracting, then it's gonna be a bad look for everyone who's involved. No one's gonna want to mess with you.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And we're about to do some fun questions from Average Savage. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right, what's your favorite song right now?
Favorite song right now? That's tough. I've been listening to, so I really rock with like neo soul. All right. So there's a song right now that I've been bopping called Strength by Moonchild. It's really, really chill. Moonchild is like this R&B group, and I thought it was a black group. And then I went to their page on Apple Music, and there's like 3 people from like the middle of nowhere in like Utah or something like that, or like they're Norwegian, something crazy. I was really shocked. Anyway, they're dope. Moonchild, Strength.
All right, I'll check them out. Why do you wear 35?
Because it was the last jersey that they had available when I got like the last varsity jersey my freshman year of high school, like at the very end of the year, and that was the last jersey that they had. But I was like working towards that jersey, so like once I got it, I was like, this is the one for me.
That's so funny because I just had Shane Gibson on, and he basically said the exact same thing. He was the last one.
Really?
He was the last one to get his jersey, and that's why he has the number. Crazy.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
I kind of know this answer, but what do you like to do when you're not playing basketball or training?
Okay, so I'm not training or playing basketball. Making music, sightseeing. I love sightseeing. I've recently gotten into photography a little bit. I got like a Polaroid camera. It was the gift. Shout out to the gift giver. And I've been taking a lot of photos, but and then also like eating really good food. I kind of take myself on restaurant tours all the time, just trying to experience all the good things.
Yeah, all those sounds pretty good.
For sure.
And last one, is your goal still to be the mayor of Bridgeport?
Yeah, that's a long-term goal of mine. I think it's going to be more realistic once I do something impactful in the city. I think that's probably the biggest thing. Mm-hmm. It's hard to kind of have your impact felt remotely, and also just being present and being tangible and being available in that space, I think is really important. I think that's something that any good politician does. Is like they make themselves felt. So I definitely want to do that. My heart is always attached to Bridgeport. I think Bridgeport is the greatest city in the world and has a lot of potential that's just been untapped. And unfortunately, we haven't had a string of competent politicians in office for some time. So I am looking to come back. But also this summer, I'm also trying to work on a basketball camp that I want to do with kids from the city. I want to do something in the city to provide people in Bridgeport with an option that touches on basketball, but also on extracurricular activities and being well-rounded. And I think all those things will eventually lead to me having some sort of impact, and eventually I want to definitely run for mayor.
Definitely. And well, I appreciate you coming on, and could you let the people know where they can follow you on social media?
Yeah, for sure. Go follow me on Twitter, Snapchat, and Instagram at BROD35, BROD35. And then on Facebook, if you want to follow my athlete page, it's Brandon Sherrod, or my personal page is Brandon Tyler Sherrod. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. I follow Napoli Basket. That's my team this year, based in Naples. We're going to have a big year, so you can follow me on all those platforms. And also check me out because I am a PG sports athlete. So,
hey,
deep game.
I appreciate you coming on, and good luck this season.
Appreciate you.